Me, 11. Now this was all the way back in 2013, right around when everyone and their grandma was starting to get various smart devices. My whole family had smartphones with Fruit Ninja, everyone at school had tablets with Angry Birds, and all my friends had smartphones with Jetpack Joyride. I, however, had nothing besides the History Channel's Civil War, A Nation Divided for Xbox 360.
The Rebs have their reinforcements. We got no. Follow me or die where you stand. Don't forget me. You can still fight. Move.
This was an issue. Now, another relevant fact about me back then is that I used to love to read. Like, a lot. I used to stay up every day till 1 a.m. reading. I mean, I'm talking like 3+ hours here, baby. I once read the Percy Jackson series 5 times back to back, no stops. Like, I would just finish the last one and then go right back to the first without even taking a day off from reading them. Anyways though, back then I had 0 smart devices. And so, as any child does when they want something, I started to complain to my parents. A lot. And because of my complaining, my parents decided to get me one. Now, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this next part. For my first smart device, my parents did not get me a brand new one. No. They got me my dad's hand-me-down Nook HD. For those of you that don't know, a Nook is basically just a Kindle, and so it's technically an e-reader, but in reality it's just a shitty tablet with like half a megabyte of RAM and an e-reader app you can't uninstall. And this was fucking awesome. Not only did I love Angry Birds, I also loved reading, and the Nook was a glorious combination of these things. There was one issue though. Angry Birds and books cost money, and as a 5th grader, I didn't have any. So I did the logical thing. I went onto the Nook store, which is basically just a shitty app store, but it has books too, and I looked up free books. And this is where the video really begins. My little 5th grade brain was not ready for what came back. Let me tell ya, it made the Pornhub search results for Big Dick Dude Does a Big Dick Dick Down look family friendly by comparison. Anyways, so basically that's the biz for this video. We're gonna take a look at various saucy books, the people that write them, the companies that publish them, and the people that jack off to the people that enjoy to them. Now, I think you can see by this video I took recently that the search results for free books on the Nook store are still pretty raunchy. The thing is though, it's actually gotten a lot better. In the 9 years since I've had a Nook, they've actually cleaned it up a lot. It's still filthy, but definitely better. Like, every second book used to be called something like Dry Humping My Stepson in the dollar store, and now at least for the first couple hundred books, it's mostly just romance stuff. It's definitely still pretty steamy for young minds, but I bet you could find a lot of it in your local library. Once you go a little farther down though, the wolves start to come out. Wolves that go by names like the Sleepy Teen Cheerleader, Big Tool in the Garage, Bound and Used in Public, Secret Schooling, When MILFs Attack, Birthday Cake Sex, Jelly Ass Eruption, Anal Beads with Professor, Werewolf Got Her Butt, Joey's After Hours Alpha Male Affair, Gay Rehab Pickup Gangbang, and Popping My Anal Cherry at 40. I don't know how to segue this, but I'm going to start reading porn now. This is a short erotica written by Sophie Sin. Remember that name. It's gonna help us out later. Besides the ridiculous title, we're greeted with this lovely compressed JPEG cover that lets us know that there will be male-on-female erotic situations, anal, public sex, and jelly? What the hell is that? Whatever it is, it can't be good because Anonymous 8 years ago said that it was disgusting and made them gag. It could be unwashed 8-inch cock, but we'll have to wait a little while to find out because there's other books I want to look at first. Like Werewolf Got Her Butt by the same author. Actually, a lot of these books are by her. Nothing is really that interesting here. I just love the disclaimer on this book. Note: no physical activities, sexual or otherwise, occur with the werewolf in wolf form. This story contains a 100% human male, in body more than mind, and a 100% human female. Alright, right off the bat, one of the reviews said this book was only like 6 pages long, so I think this disclaimer is already about half the length of the book. And also, I don't know why that's the fetish this woman will not write about. I mean, she's literally written everything under the sun. Piss, mind control, so basically rape, cuckolding, straight up sexual assault. Yif is where this woman drew the line though. Respect owed? Anyways, let's next go to the gaping assholes of popping my anal cherry at 40. The premise of the book is simple. 40 years on Earth, and the woman's never done anal. Let's do anal for the first time, James. I also want to point out to a noon Y-mouse that their review of this piece of classical literature makes no sense. I mean, it's not a pun to say you were hard while reading this thing. Just because your penis was involved doesn't mean it's a joke. I hope your house burns down and your e-copy of Anal Beads with Professor gets e-stolen. According to a noon Y Moas, though, that might not be the worst thing in the world, however, as they wish that in Anal Beads with Professor, there had been more description of the anal beads themselves, and more descriptive anal sex. Now, I wouldn't call myself an anal king, but I do have IBS, so it's pretty fair to say I know my way around a butthole. Let's take a look for ourselves if this review is accurate. That's actually the good thing about a lot of these books. Even if they cost money, they still have samples a lot of the time that give you like a good taste of the book, and if it's worth spending the... Oh. That's the whole sample. I guess I could buy it to figure out if there's like really a dearth of anal beads with Professor. Ugh. 99 cents though. Ugh. I don't know if straight porn is worth that much, yeah. I don't know about that one. I guess we won't know the exact amount of beads that went into her ass, and we can't guess to win a free pizza. Unfortunate. Gay rehab pickup gangbang.
To the future, Mr. Whore. Gay oppression is in full swing, and Man-Whore has one thing in mind. Gangbang the readjusted back to gay. A vivacious sex session ensues until Big Cop intervenes. However, the police have their own tools of carnal entertainment, and with tentacles and cyborgs on hand, Man-Whore is going to have to fight if he wants to save the future of all gays everywhere. Sort of. This and similar stories in the Flippant Man-Whore collection.
I don't know if that description draws me in enough to spend 99 cents on this either. Let's see what the reviews have to say first. E-Known Emus says 1 star, stupid and crazy. But Anon Emus says 5 stars, crazy and stupid. Who to trust? Also, I just want to point out a little mathematical error here. 5 and 1 average to 3, not 3.5 like the Nook store seems to think. In my opinion, this is a big deal, considering this could be the difference between someone reading inferior smut, like Gay Rehab Pickup Gangbang, and superior smut, like Joey's Alpha Hour Male Affair, rated 4.5 stars. There's not really anything special about this one right off the bat. I mean, the description's fairly basic. I just mentioned it because it had a funny name and it was rated pretty highly. Wait, FNAF? For real? Glistening wet surface of the tip. I don't remember that from Markiplier Let's Plays.
Was that the bite of 87?
Speaking of Let's Plays, because I liked the segment in the Spotify video where I put the sex audio over game footage so much, I'm gonna do it again. And then after that, we're gonna have a structured investigation into the sources of this degeneracy and the people that consume it. Skate away. He warms the half-size jelly cups in the small, barely working microwave with the weird flashing lights out back in the tiny little kitchen of the 2-story all fantasies catered for erotic play bar where I moonlight when I'm not pursuing my PhD in microbiology or stripping for tips. I follow him out. 15-inch heels that click-clack on the black tiled floor push me higher than him by half a head. My large D-cup breasts jiggle left to right with every step from where they're squeezed into the tiny, racy red bikini top that I'm wearing that doesn't quite match the sexy black silk panties, our white wedding garter belt, the only other adornments that I'm wearing at all. What are you gonna do with those? I ask again. I want you to squirt it out of your pussy at me. Did you say squirt? Yes, I love it when a girl pushes jelly out of her pussy all over my face. Woo! I cry. Are you ready, he asks. Yes. I want to push it out now. The jelly explodes from my pussy like a volcano erupting. He gets covered. It's done in 30 seconds. Carl Morris Jones stood against the wall with his ear firmly pressed against it. The room he was in, his bedroom, was next to the second-floor toilet. His ears strained for sound as he waited. There was a creak. He He wasn't particularly religious, but, much like those close to death, it was at times like this that he called out to the Divine One. The Christian version, as this was Utah and he was a white child of middle America, and hence his God was an American one, and that didn't leave room for Middle Eastern clones in moments like this. To his ears came the pleasure of hearing the stream God. Let's go on to the next one. That was shocking, even for porn. What's up, man? You never seen a bunch of naked babes before? All the guys have signed the contract. You read it, right? The tall blonde guy, who must be by far the most handsome man at the party, pulls out a copy of the contract from the rear pocket of his swimming trunks and flips over to page 15, while somehow managing to film a very hot girl coming out of the pool in front of him with considerable ease. All individuals represented within this text are over the age of 21. When he heard that it was my 19th birthday last month, wow, you really are big, Mr. Jack. He shifts his white, thick cotton shirt a little. It shows off his ripped forearms perfectly. I wonder if he just thinks I'm impressed, or if he knows that, most likely, all of the women in the room, including me, are a little bit wet after such a blatant display. After writing freshly lactating MILF, I thought to myself, why just concentrate on the concept of younger man versus older woman? I've written quite a few books using that concept as a base, like 99% of the more MILF collections. But with my protagonist, a redhead lactating MILF in this case, was married, pregnant, and wanted to fuck a bunch of well-put-together older men because she couldn't control her pregnancy lust. Of course, I would involve an experimental husband with a cuckold fetish for reasons, mainly those pertaining to taking more of your $, wink, wink. Then we could have 4 nasty alphas. Sounds about right so far. What is missing? Ah yes, a very large breast pump. It isn't lactating erotica if you don't at least make the MILF drink her own milk mixed with some pussy juices and a few loads of semen. Yes, now we are getting places. So now my usual promise applies. I promise you lots of hot, sexy hunks with milk on their minds. A MILF, lactating impressively, with a touch of inexperience and a lust-filled mind. I will give you quality lactation, squirting, suckling, and milking. Even the most discerning reader will find no fault with the milking that takes place within. Auntie Sophie will satisfy your needs. Fear not, it all begins here. The fact that he's black makes it worse. The man speaks like he grew up white, but in his eyes there is the chocolate menace that all black men have when they see a woman with a thick behind. Tom Stables aims for top whore in a competition to see who has the best sucking, fucking, and ass-humping skills in LA. The competition is fierce and with raw, hot ass everywhere. He looks. Does he really have the skills to be the top ass whore of them all? Word count 3,500 words. Titles in the Gay Stables series. Glory Holes, Gay Stables number 1. Ass Tickling Mansion, Gay Stables number 2. Ultimate Gay, Gay Stables number 3. Rent a Gay, Gay Stables number 4. And then you put text on the screen that says this goes on for 8 more, but you don't put this part in the video. Anyways, this was his 6th time now. And Lucy, the event coordinator, had told him that most of the big names in the local LA circuit were coming. Tom didn't know if that was a good thing or not. The competition would be a 2-heat sex match where the participants would pleasure the judges and then engage in the secret match afterwards if they were ranked high enough in the first match for the judges to want to see more. Tom knew that the competition would be strict. His first time, he had been disqualified for not being properly stretched for taking a particularly large judge in his ass. The man had slapped him to the floor and sent him out in shame. He'd stretched his ass to the max over the past week. A few of his clients had even mentioned how flexible his hole was. He knew that it was ready. There wouldn't be any inexperienced dicks here tonight. He had nearly won last time, and he knew that this would be his big opportunity to make a play for first.
That was hot. I have an erection. Anyways, at this point, you might be wondering who reads these. I mean, searching boobs on Wikipedia is free, too. To answer this question, though, all we have to do is go into the review section. Now, you might have noticed some of the wacky reviews from earlier, like the Flip stuff and the FNAF stuff, and this sort of thing is actually what inspired me to make this video. Like 2 years ago, I wanted to see if the Nook store was still as wild as I remembered, so I checked, and it was pretty zany. But when I started to read the reviews,
That's when I knew I had to do this. I don't know why, but for some reason, Nook reviews are more unhinged than any other place to review things on the entirety of the internet, with the exception of Steam reviews. I'm sure I don't have to tell you why. Now, reading the reviews lets us divide the consumers of these books into two categories. There's the why is someone shitposting in the review section of a porn book type of consumer, which is actually most of the reviews we've seen so far. And then there's the 11-year-old had their first nut to this book type of consumer, which is actually most of the reviews. I'm going to read both kinds of reviews together because it's honestly pretty hard to tell them apart a lot of the time. I mean, honestly, try and figure out which is which if you want to. I think there's actually like a third kind of person reading these books, which is just a normal person above the age of 15 wanking. But those kinds of people generally don't leave reviews on porn, and if they do, it's not interesting, so we won't really be seeing any of those. Now, hopefully you guys liked the last section where I read funny stuff with gameplay footage, because I'm about to do that again. Dang. Well, thank you for giving this 8th grader an awesome masturbation session. Still laughing at the ending there. XD. What is cum? What's cum? In the description it says that Rachel wants the woman to squirt cum in her mouth. Respond with the headline, lesbian sex cum squirt. And the response, lesbian squirt cum sex. It's when a female has sex and orgasm happens. What the girl means, that she wants the babysitter to pee on her mouth, orgasm in her mouth. It's a bit strange, but it might be the truth. Damn, it's like this kid is reading out of a medical textbook over here. Also, I know some of you just learned that squirt is just pee. You don't have to say who you are, but you know who you are. No Nook sex. Nobody wants to have Nook sex. I'm 13 and I am normal, unlike you. This is a 5-star review, but I don't know, something about the tone just seemed more 1 or 2 star to me. I found this somehow by searching K-pop. I am not joking. This book is really good, but it makes me feel like the single girl I am. Anybody interested? What is it about? I don't get it. Alright, maybe this child wasn't old enough to masturbate to it then. I wish this app didn't have such weird stories. I stopped at the first paragraph, and by then I realized it was one of those books. The cover didn't load, so I didn't see the obscene photo. My guy, you clicked on a book called Anal Favor. What did you expect? Penis. Also, can we just remember the FNAF stuff for a sec? I thought that was goofy. I don't know what's going on there. All of you are loners, retards, pervs, people who master and beta, ate just flat out stupid pepple. Iron Man dies in Endgame and so does Thanos, you fucking rat. Beanos gang. What does that even mean? That sounds like a slur. Also, I don't expect, the Nook store to be the corner of the internet that news gets to fastest, but that review was published in summer of 2020. That was, kind of old news by then. All right, so some context first before these next bits. A lot of kids like to sex roleplay in the reviews of these books, or at least they used to. I mean, you don't really see a lot of reviews anymore because no one owns these things anymore. All right, so basically 2 children have been roleplaying here, and then one of them reveals they're actually a 14-year-old Mormon girl and not a boy, and that because in Mormonism you can't have sex until marriage, they want to stop, roleplaying, and they also want to follow their Heavenly Father, and that they're standing up for their beliefs, and then they encourage the other child to look up the Church of the Latter-day Saints, but see, then the other kid is like, see, I knew about that the whole time. I'm also Mormon, and I can see you've learned your lesson and that you're following the right path now, blah, blah, blah. Even though he was also sex role-playing and never said he was gonna stop. So, yeah. And then 2 years later, this other dude comes in and starts promoting Catholicism. This next book here was actually the biggest breeding ground I could find for this kind of shit. The entire review section of this book, which I will not name, is just kids asking to roleplay and shit. Like, dozens of them. I mean, this dude literally just put his phone number in the comments, which I did text asking him to roleplay. He never responded. And also, that's fine, because, I mean, this review's so old, unless that guy literally came out of the womb jacking it, he's probably, like, my age now. Alright, so then later on in this same review section, we run into my favorite drama of any Nook book review section. And there actually is a lot of drama in the reviews for some reason. So basically there's this dude named Mason, right? That apparently people, aka Carla, need to watch out for because he's roleplayed with 4 girls in the last month and tried to get with Steve's girlfriend, and he doesn't actually love Carla, he's just horny, and his phone was taken away, probably for sexting on some other website from the sound of this, and he'll just go sex somewhere else when he gets his phone back, so he really doesn't care. Then Carla comes in swinging and is all like, you guys are acting like 10-year-olds, we're better than this, we are 11 years old, and while both of you are a little right, you're also both a little wrong, and I will stop giving both of you E-head if you keep this up. Then Merc comes in, only rates 2 stars, and says that there's actually no pedoing here, everyone is the same age, but Mason needs to stop simping because you don't get any pussy that way. Then, the man, the myth, the legend, Mason himself comes back a full 2 months later and says he has a phone again and is ready to sex. To which his buddy Merc replies with, "Hey Mason," and another brutal 2-star rating. Wow, I fully expect this to be a drama on Netflix within the next 2 years. And then it'll get canceled after the first season. Not because it's like bad or anything, just because, you know, it's Netflix. Now, I know the conversation I just showed seemed a little fractured, but that was unfortunately all I was able to find. It's a shame I wasn't able to investigate further, because honestly it looks like there might be recurring characters in the Nook sexting world. I would love to dive deeper into this, but unfortunately in college I don't have enough time to go about reading sexting logs from 6 years ago, so I'll have to pass that torch to someone else for another video. You know, it's actually funny that I wrote college in the script in order to set up this next bit, because some of the books and authors actually hit closer to college than you might expect, foreshadowing. Now we've looked at the books themselves and the people that read them, but what about the people who author them and publish them? Let's take a look at that now and see how goopy this really gets. So you might remember from earlier when I mentioned someone called Sophie Sin. I think that she offers a really good overview for a lot of the authors for these kinds of books. Like, yeah, there is a lot of authors overall, but honestly the popular ones are written by a couple of people. Like, if you search a sex word, then a lot of the top results are going to be familiar names. And it's no surprise when you start to look closer at those names. For example, Miss Sins has 743 books, enough material to provide a small African village with spanking material for an entire year. She's probably the biggest author on the entire platform, honestly, porn or not. I mean, 4 of the books we discussed in the beginning were by her. Most of the other authors aren't really that far behind either. Like, Naughty Daydreams Press has 298, Dick Powers has 292, and Diana James has 99 red balloons floating in the summer sky. The thing is though, a lot of the books aren't necessarily sex related. Let's take for example best sex positions in a car. The author, Stephen Williams, has a lot of suggestive stuff, like strip poker, how to seduce a woman, and steamy big butt women. But then he also has stuff like recovering from psychosis, the Rome that did not fall, and sexist jokes. And there's a lot of other authors like this. I found multiple instances of authors having published textbooks like Stephen Williams. And also multiple occurrences of authors also having children's books. I don't have any evidence or anything though, because I forgot to write down like the names of the books and the authors. But at this point, I've been writing the script and researching for like 15 hours, so I'm not gonna be bothered to try and find it again. Also, we're like 20 to 25 minutes in at this point, so if you're still watching, you're committed to finishing either way, and you probably don't really give a shit. The only thing I did write down the name of was the Erotic Fuda Girl series, and by write the name down, I mean I read the whole thing several times. Most of this dude, Carl East, most of his stuff is sexual, but he also has a fantasy book about a talking sword, so bit of a departure. His audience honestly seems to be pretty supportive either way though, so good for him. I can only hope that one day if I stop making YouTube videos and instead start writing Fuda stories, you guys will be just as supportive of the transition. So now that we've looked at the authors and everything else, what about the final part of the equation? The publishers. Well, it turns out things get a little educational here.
I went to high school, didn't do great.
So a surprising amount of the porn authors had textbooks, right? The weird thing is though, they weren't self-published textbooks. Like, one guy's textbook was published by the University of Illinois, the government-funded research and education institution. And the guy who did best sex positions in a car, he had stuff published by Taylor and Francis, one of the biggest names in STEM and social science text publishing. Like, I'm pretty sure I've owned some of their textbooks before. And their parent company is publicly traded and has 11,000 employees. That is insane to me. I know that some people say they get turned on by intelligence.
A sapiosexual.
I didn't know that's what they meant. Taking this concept even further, though, is Resounding Wind Publishing. Not only do they publish informational stuff by authors who do sex stuff, they publish the sex stuff, too. Their publishing library is split like 50-50 between biographies of famous people and presidents, and then smut. Or at least it appears that way on the surface. But the crazy thing is that the porn books, I mean, they're just history too. They're literally just educational stuff too, with some tits slapped on them. I mean, that is so funny to me. You know, you go and think you're going to get your penis stimulated, and you leave with your brain stimulated. And maybe your penis too. I mean, George Washington was kind of a baddie. So yeah, at this point, we've jerked it, jacked it, and jonked it. I hope that everyone who watches this video feels they were properly educated on the finer points of Nook smut, as in my opinion, it's a topic that doesn't get enough attention in today's 24-hour news cycle. Alright, real talk now. Thank you to everyone who's watching my stuff right now. I know a lot of people just joined me off of that Spotify vid that kind of blew up, relatively, of course. Still not a lot of views, but anyway. Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed it, especially you guys, because I think this video is kind of similar to that. I have been planning this for, I think, over a year at this point, but yeah, hopefully everyone liked it. Alright, now for like a serious part though. One way this video is like my Spotify video is that the moderation, especially the stuff involving children, really is not where it should be. Like, obviously it's really funny when a child's like, poo poo pee pee, what's sex, in the review section. But it's a lot less funny when, you know, a child is commenting their phone number and that kind of thing. I mean, you could pretty easily groom children here, and I'm sure that's been going on a lot in these reviews. However they end up doing it, the Nook store needs to start monitoring this stuff, because honestly, it's out of control. I know that Nook probably hasn't turned a profit in like 10 years, so maybe there's not the money for moderation, but something needs to be done, even if it's just shutting the whole thing down. Also, it's actually owned by Barnes & Noble, and I don't really think you want that on your record, BB. Anyways, if anyone made it this far, please comment if you prefer these longer commentary videos or if you like my shorter sketch stuff better. I'm working on formatting right now. And if you don't feel like that, just comment the Among Us cock copy pasta. Either's fine. Nah. Alright, what's up, landed gentry? Can you fucking focus? Look at that fucker. How'd that get there? I literally just showered. Fucking focus. God damn it. I swear, dude. Like, my autofocus used to work so well until I went to film school. And all the teachers are like, do not use autofocus. You will never be hired if you even dare to turn autofocus on once. And now it just fucking sucks. Anyways, I'm back recording this from not the future, but like a more future past. I mean, honestly, I haven't even finished the video yet when I'm recording this. I just came here to say, so guys, it's been a bit of an absence. But yeah, I just figured I should probably, you know, address why I haven't uploaded in 3 months. When normally I'm like once a month minimum. Anyways, we're at the end of the video. This isn't really interesting. I was busy with school and shit, you know, like one thing came up, it was finals month, friends, etc. And I don't upload for a month, which hadn't really happened in a long time. And then it's like, oh, the world didn't end. And then I go home, job, class, blah, blah, blah. Also, I was not exaggerating. You probably heard me say it a couple times. This video, forever. This video took me so long to make. Was not exaggerating. I would say like 50 plus hours. I mean, I started working on it in November. Technically, I took probably like 2 or 3 months off before I started working on it again. But I did start writing in November. So there's that.
And it would just be kind of overwhelming when, you know, it's like, oh, gee, I got a couple days off. I want to finish my video. And, oh, I have 20-something hours to go. Guess I'll, you know, give it 30 minutes, then call it a day for the next 10 days. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully going to upload more consistently soon. Things to note. I'm fucking bald. Not that that matters, because I'm making another video before this one goes up, so you'll see it before then. But it's not filmed yet, so to me, I have just learned I'm bald. Also, that's my dog. Literally. Pea. Come on. Her name's Sweet Pea. My sister named her, and no, my sister's not 5. My sister's 18, so I don't really know what she was thinking. I call her Penis. Anyways. Good night.
2, 3, go!
I don't